Right, we've got the experimental salt pan here, which is more or less a third the size of the ones that were down at Cockenzie, about a quarter the size of the bigger pans that were in use in the 18th century. It's very simple. It's a big firebox which takes up this section here, with the pan on top of it, which is really, in this instance, it's called a sole pan because the fire behind that wall and it's just burning on the sole, which is the concrete slabs in this case. So it's straight on, there's no grate. And then there's a section here which is the flue chamber, so there's a gather, this bit here's a concrete gather which takes all the flue gases up the chimney and up through the chimney can at the very top. So I'd say it's about a third the size of the pans that were here. And the other thing it's missing really is the building around it, because the pans that were in Cockenzie and almost anywhere in Scotland had buildings covering the whole thing, so that the workers were on the far side stoking the fire, while the pan with all the noxious fumes coming off it and the steam was all separated from them, but they had to go into that place to skim the top off the salt and also to get the salt itself. One of the process was a skimming process, so they had to actually skim the top of the salt on every boiling. There's a wee example there of the kind of scum that you get off the water as you're going across. So as you get it to a boiling point, this forms on the surface, but it only forms if you add something to the water when it's at tepid conditions. So when the water gets up to just lukewarm, sort of cold bath temperature, description from Brownrigg's book in the 1700s is that you add egg white or rancid bull's blood. And in this case we've added egg white, which is easier to get hold of than the rancid bull's blood these days, in Cockenzie anyway. So the process we've gone through today, we lit the fire at 9:30 this morning. We lit it with some of the shavings from some woodworking that was going on in the woods behind and some of the cut logs. And we got it going, we stoked it up. It took probably about an hour to get a fire that was decent. Much the same kind of time as we lit the fire, we put water in. In this case we put about 80 litres of water into the pan to get it going. This will hold about 120, so we didn't go all the way. This is a sort of first day of trial. We've boiled it up, it's taken several hours to get to a boiling condition. We've gone through the process with the egg, we've skimmed it, and now we're on to our third boil. So this has gone through a process of being boiled, reduced down to a minimum depth, to a point where you can start to see tiny salt crystals forming on the surface, although we're not quite sure whether we can see them or not, or what they look like. And then every time we've got to that stage, we've refilled it again. So we're not getting very far away now from coming back down the pan to have our fourth filling. And at the fourth filling, once the boiling is finished, it's all boiled, it's down to the same point, you start to see the small salt crystals forming. We'll take the fire right down so that it's really just bubbling very, very gently, and we'll keep it there. And the theory is that the water will reduce, water will come off, you're left with a liquid that's bitterns, that's other salts that you don't want, and the salt crystals will start to form together crystallise on the surface and lump together to the point where they sink to the bottom of the pan. And that's what we're hoping we'll get to at the end of today.